I would like to talk to you about spirit guides. If you have not yet met your spirit guide, if you'd like to meet your spirit guide, to know their name, to talk to them, to hear them, to see their face, then this video is for you. I have only met my spirit guide or seen my spirit guide or felt his presence 4 times over the last 20 years. You don't need to be highly psychic or highly spiritual to meet your spirit guide and know them. Once you have recognized them, you are going to know that you have met a familiar person who you've known for basically millennia. I met my spirit guide first via a dream. This dream was about 20 years ago. I was around 21 years old. Now, my spirit guide is a Native American chief. He came to me via a dream and, of all things, was bopping along to a song by Moloko called Bring It Back. It was just his head in the dream, and he was dancing along, just his head sort of levitating in the sky. And when I caught his eye, we looked deeply into each other's eyes, and from there I knew that this was my spirit guide. It was an unmistakable recognition of somebody that I had known forever and that was with me forever. When I looked into the lyrics of Bring It Back by Moloko, I found that it said things like, "When you are ready, I will surrender. Take me and do as you will." It might sound a little bit kinky. It's not like this. It was basically, for me, my angel was saying, "I am at your service." It took me a long time to realize, many, many, many years, that my angel really is there for me. The second time that I met my guide was after a 4-day fast. When I was about 21, again, about 20 years ago, I had an eating disorder at the time. I was an overeater. I would basically binge eat but not have the bulimia. As an effect of this, as a way to deal with this, I decided to do a 4-day fast. Now that, I don't know why I chose 4 days, it was just a random number. When I looked into this later on, I realized that a 4-day vision quest would be a very common thing for Native Americans to do, in which they would fast. So I did this fast. I basically only had herbal teas for the 4 days, and on the 4th night, I decided to smoke some marijuana. I had been completely straight up until that point, and I smoked some pot, lay on my bed, closed my eyes, and my spirit guide came forth. It was like seeing his face again. I don't remember his body, but his face was being painted almost finely by a paintbrush, as it appeared to me. When it was all painted, we looked into each other's eyes again, and it was just like seeing my grandmother after 1,000 years absence. It was just that deep, deep love and just that feeling of, oh my goodness, I have missed you so much. So good to see you. That was the second time. Now, I'd actually, before making this video, forgotten about one of the times, but the third time was related to marijuana again, and I was about 25, I think, at the time. I had smoked some pot. I saw my spirit guide before I lay down on my bed. I was stoned. I saw my spirit guide, and he was swinging a golf club, and he was basically conveying the message to me to give pot the final kick. Now, it took me actually another 15 years to give up the habit, but he was saying, give it the swing, get rid of it. I instead lay down stoned on my bed. I ended up bouncing around, astral traveling on the sun. It suddenly got very hot, and I opened my eyes, looked to my left, and realized my entire bedside table was on fire from a candle, a quilt falling into the candle. Managed to put it out. Everything was fine. So The fourth time then, I was completely straight. That was several years afterwards again. There was a storm. I was on my moped. I was driving, turning into my driveway across a busy road, and there was a big storm coming in the afternoon, one that blew down the tree, in a large tree in our front yard, and my spirit guide took over my body. He basically took the handles of the moped and drove for me because I was stationary in the middle of a busy road and I was not handling the strength of the wind. So he took over. Then I had another experience on a healing table, and that again was being straight. I was with my healer of 20 years who I've seen sporadically. Often she has closed her doors to public healing. But I was on her healing table and I regressed back to being about 7 years old, and I was basically walking to school, crossing the road, and my spirit guide was holding my hand, and I saw him very vividly with his headdress. Now, I feel very strongly about people wearing Native American headdresses at parties. I know that people like to get a bit fucked up and go and party and think they're the chief. There's nothing that gets my blood boiling more, simply because my recognition of the headdress on my spirit guide and what it takes to earn that headdress and every feather on it. My advice for meeting your spirit guide, like I say, it's only been a few times over the 20 years, but once you know they're there, you can call on them anytime. I would say, first of all, set the intention. And then I would say, start talking to them. Start talking to them like they're there. Say, well, how are you feeling today? And what should we get up to? And just start talking to them would be my advice. Once I'd had my early experiences with my spirit guide, I wanted to know his name. So I set the intention to learn his name. I would get just a strong feeling whenever I passed a street that said Grey Street in my local area. That really stood out for me, and I just started thinking of my guide every time I saw this street. So I started to think maybe he's got the word grey in his name. I also got very struck by somebody that I knew at the time who would wear a polo shirt all the time with a couple of horses on it. So I started to connect grey and horse, and for whatever reason, these two things stood out to me. I said to the universe, I'm after some confirmation. Is there something you can tell me or show me that will confirm that your name is Grey Horse? And my mother came into work that day where I was at the cafe playing Scrabble with her partner, and the word came up on the board, Grays, Grays. Now I know that's there's some sort of alien intervention there, something nasty, but yeah, for me, this was confirmation. So I have called my spirit guide Grey Horse over the years. Now, I got no idea if that's his name, to be perfectly honest. But in a way, I don't think it matters. Okay? What matters is that you know that they're there and you know you can talk to them and call on them. The picture for this video has come from a woman who was going blind in a suburb called Armidale. And this was 20 years ago. I can't remember her name, but she did drawings for people in psychic sessions, I guess. So I've taken this poster traveling all over the world. I would take it wherever I go. I really resonate with this. Now, my sister also had an experience with the Native Americans after she had a 4-day depressive retreat into her bedroom. So she didn't have her curtains open. She didn't really eat for the 4 days either. Just a coincidence that she did the 4 days. She was manically depressed. After 4 days, she says, and she is not really a spiritual person. She doesn't really, this is not her number one thing. She's a mum. She's doing her work thing. I don't even know if she believes in God, to be honest. But she says after the 4 days, all the spirit ancestors of our Native American life or her Native American life started coming towards her. So I have 2 sisters, but I really resonate with one, and I believe we've had our former lives together in Native America. I hope this is helpful to you. Don't feel that you need to know everything about your guide or to be able to see them clearly. It really just takes that intention to start talking to them and just put out for a little bit of inspiration in whatever way is going to come, that you can learn that they are there. If you take the dream route like I did, I thoroughly recommend drinking less if you drink and not smoking pot, because I will talk much about my journey with this, and it has pot and alcohols that has hindered my spiritual journey a lot over the years, and I want to talk about that more in the future. But if you want to dream, staying straight is the go. Write them down in the morning, you'll start getting vivid dreams. All right, love and light, peace, signing out.